Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about someone, Amanda, who has had a lot of really hard times in her life. Some harsh times. She's been a victim of dysfunctional family members, narcissistic abuse, histrionic people. She has been a victim in her life, and she feels like it just keeps going on. And she's in her 50s. Now, she's been a member of a writers group since she was an undergrad in university. And these are a group of women writers, and they've known one another all these years, 30 years around. And they submit things, it depends on what's going, what kind of, computer. They do it all through computer, by the way. And, whatever social media platform is the hit of the time, they would submit their own stories and, for one another to critique or just comment on or help out with, whatever it is. Some of them now do it more like a podcast or video, and no matter, what they're using. And they can keep up with one another. Many of them know one another in person or over the phone, and with technology as it is, you see them on video, you get the idea. They know one another's real, for one thing, but over 30 years, they really have, developed deep friendships and a deep bond with one another. Now, I'm mentioning this is because they're getting a little worried. They've always been a little bit worried about Amanda from the beginning, because Amanda writes, usually she writes something that's more like about things like stories that do have some kind of a more like emotional abuse, psychological abuse in them. And some of it is more like fantasy, mysteries, that they're kind of dark, overall kind of dark. And they've always been a little worried about her with this. Okay, now, and they all kind of learned early within the group to not really question her too much, Amanda, about things, because she had, she would talk about different characters, and but two of them actually, eventually it was two, but one of them she would change her voice. She, eventually, whenever it was more voice, at first it was more writing, and as time went by, they actually heard her voice, and it was kind of, not like podcast or now, but she changed her voice. Some of them knew her voice, and she would change her voice with Pauline when she talked about the character Pauline, and basically she would, just talk about, like some adventures Pauline had, and Okay, and why they learned early on is that, like different characters, she would, with Pauline, when she wrote about, under Pauline, the whole style of writing was different. It was just totally different. And somebody had asked, mentioned it, all these women are very friendly, very nice, and, they all had, have master's degrees, and to develop their characters and their writing, they took a lot of counseling courses. They don't live in the same place. They live all different places, different states, and even Canada, and different places in the world. And they did that, took master's level classes in counseling and, psychology and counseling, so they would know how to develop their characters in a better way. And, help, many stories, as we all know, they're going to have somebody in it that's not a good seed. I cannot think of any story, whether written or in a video, movie, series, whatever, that there's not a bad seed. But anyway, when Amanda started writing, writing under Pauline, the whole way she wrote changed so much. They mentioned it and said that was really great writing for her to use such a different voice. And Amanda got really upset and said, what are y'all doing? You're joking with me, you're making fun of me or something, you know. And as it turns out, but there's more to this, as it turns out what's going on. But I do want to say that Amanda has had these, eventually, more currently, she asked the group that, she said that she needs help with one of her characters. I'm going to get this out in a minute. I need help with one of my characters. But her character has a little bit of, she needs help. So she tells them what's going on with her character, one of her characters. And basically she says the character has she says she doesn't know what to call it. She wants to call it dissociation. She wants to say that they have a multiple personality, that this woman does. She wants to say that, but she's not certain. She's really not certain if this is the kind of thing that people talk about when they say that the person has an out-of-body experience. Well, she says that her character isn't actually standing outside of her body and having the experience. But what she does is, like, if she's very angry and she found, herself in a really angry, or even really just she's trying to be helpful, she feels like, not always, but sometimes, she feels like the voices, the words that are coming out of her mouth are right, but like when she was angry once, the voice was angry and says the right words, but that her character feels herself is just in the same body, but is saying, I'm not really that angry as that words are coming out of my mouth. And she feels she's speaking and she's feeling at the same time, but she doesn't feel the same way. And same thing with helping somebody verbally, to help them through a situation. She could hear the words coming out of her mouth, which were appropriate, which were right for all of her education and down that line. But she, at the same time, was thinking, why am I telling them this? Why am I helping this person? This person has never helped me, that kind of thing. Okay, yeah. Okay, but like I said, she asked the group, and the group gets pretty worried about her, because she has not only one character, Pauline, but another one that, I'll mention another time. But a little bit more about her is that there is a woman, the woman who's, they joke and call her the leader, but she was the one that get this group together 30 years ago, and 30-ish years ago, and her name is Susanna, yeah, and Susanna knows her really well. They don't live anywhere near one another. One lives north in the United States, one lives south, and they don't really know one another. I mean, they know one another, but not in person. And they've spoken on the phone and everything. Well, Susanna has a little bit more of a clue what's going on, because she thinks that, something's not right about Amanda, okay? But she does know that Amanda came from a dysfunctional family, and that they never listened to her. One of the things that she talks about is that they never listened to her. And, no matter what she says, how she says it, they want to turn it all around to be about, back around about them. And like she's an outsider. Well, because of it, she developed basically, not by her own, not intentionally, she has a separate life, a secret life, because none of them care to hear anything about it. She's not intentionally trying to do it, but they don't want to hear about it. So whatever she does, if she comes home and says, you wouldn't believe what experience I have, cannot come home, or just call them or whatever, they're going to switch the conversation back around to what they want to talk about. Rather narcissistic, histrionic, that kind of thing. So, anyway, that's just a little more. Anyway, I'm going to talk about her a little bit more, but have you ever known anybody that had this experience yourself? That, not exactly out of body, but anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'll talk to you on another video.